through.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious...
Jones for the win. He got it! He got it! He got it! Mason Jones banks in a three with 0.1 seconds to play.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Middle of your day, middle of your week. And maybe you are finding a way to build a routine around these crazy times as we try to find a way to inch towards normalcy. Maybe we have a little normalcy going on these days. Phil Elson here along with my buddies Matty T, Matt Smackdown Jenkins. This has definitely become a part of the routine that I am looking forward to each and every day. A chance to visit with the guys, visit with you, talk a little sports, and try to figure this whole thing out. 877-377-6963 to get with us on calls or texts for the next couple of hours. Our usual Wednesday guests are on the pipeline today. Clay Henry, 12:30. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio at 1:30. We're talking a little college football. I've got some college basketball news involving the Razorbacks. Hogs are making some plans for future seasons to be playing games in 2021, 2022. We are choosing lists of people to live with, as pretty much everybody is doing that these days, I think, with their options 1 through 6. I will apologize, I guess, at the start, SmackDown. I did not include you in any of my houses for the options that I put out yesterday after our show was concluded. And I should also apologize to Matty T. I tried. I'll just say this. If I had only 2 people that I could choose to quarantine with, and it can't be those who I am with right now, it would be you two. And we're pretty much in a 2-hour quarantine 5 times a week anyway, so.
That's what we do.
Is it all right I didn't include you guys in it? Because I think I ticked off some media members that like to see their names on Twitter.
I was a little offended, but then I got over it when you put Ty and Chad Morris in the same house together.
You got the sense of what I was trying to do here, right?
Absolutely. I send a little bit of resentment for Ty leaving you for the morning show. Maybe
well, I put him in the same house as Bubba Carpenter, so
that too.
I mean, that can't be a bad thing. Bubba's got a bat; he takes it with him everywhere he goes. I should apologize as well to Tommy Kraft. I didn't put Tommy on any, but I probably could have. I did 6 options. Most of these memes that are getting sent around over the last couple of weeks are about 9 options. I only went with 6. If we're talking about media members in the state of Arkansas that pretty much focus most of their attention on the Razorbacks, I could have put together 9 houses.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a little remiss. I guess I was a bit lazy in putting this thing together.
I was impressed. You did good. I was looking at Ty, and then I saw him, and I was like, well, where's Matty T at? Where's SmackDown? But then we weren't there. And then I saw Tommy out there. I was like, okay, maybe he just ran out of room.
Oh, I didn't include David Basil. I think Baz should have been on one of those. I didn't get John Neighbors, who used to be on this station as well. I didn't put him on there.
That just means you got to make another one.
That's right. I need another. Well, it's like a tournament, like our field of 64 Razorback football games, the greatest all time.
Yep.
So I should have put a tournament together. But if you go to my Twitter, that's at Phil Elson PXP, you'll find it there. 6 options to choose from. 5 of those people you probably would like to hang out with and talk Arkansas sports with. The other person that is stuck in the house is the theoretical fly in the ointment. I put Perry Costello in one house, Gus Malzahn in another, Nick Saban is in my house, John Calipari, Chad Morris living with Ty Richardson and Bubba Carpenter, and Penn Wagers, who I think is universally regarded as maybe the worst official in SEC football history. So it's up trying. You get a sense, I think, when you listen to this show, and maybe SmackDown, you're getting a sense of it too. Matty T, you already know, because we've known each other for 13 or 14 years. You give me an opportunity to be a smartass, and I'm going to run with that thing, baby, especially right now. I mean, usually my outlet would be being a smartass to Bubba Carpenter on baseball broadcasts for, 4 or 5 times a week. Don't have that going on right now. So I get these 2 hours to be smart with you, SmackDown, and Matty T, and I get the other 22 hours to be a smartass with people on Twitter. So thank goodness for social media.
Absolutely. Well, bring it. Give me your best shot. That's all I'll say.
Good. All right. So I don't know who I'm going to put you with in a house, but I'll have one by the end of the show. It'll be my change my mind.
I won't be offended if you put me with like Brett Bielema or someone like that.
Do you think people still like Brett Bielema? I mean, personally, I don't think they had too much of an issue with him.
He just didn't
coaching.
Win.
Yeah. I don't think that there's a reservoir of hatred for Brett Bielema the way that I feel there is for Chad Morris.
Well, true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm not quite sure. Like, who would be the other three anti-heroes for Arkansas sports fans? Who would you pick? I could have put Darryl Royal out there, but Royal, I don't know. I mean, I think Arkansas fans view Royal differently all these years later, differently than they view Nick Saban right now, as you're still trying to, knock your head against the wall and beat the Alabama Crimson Tide, and it's been 12 or 13 years. You
think you could put Les Miles in there just for saying Arkansas?
Maybe. I was thinking about maybe putting Jeff Long on one of the lists, but I have the complicated relationship, with Long. I think most Arkansas fans there's still some that defend Long's job here at Arkansas. He hired me for the Razorbacks, so I don't know if I can necessarily go negative on him because I still appreciate the opportunity to do the work. So I don't know if I'd put Long on there. Mark Emmert is probably universally despised.
Oh, that's a good one.
Who wants to live with Mark Emmert? W. Wicks wants to know the ref's name with curls. I don't remember the referee he's expressing it. I'm thinking about.
I think Mark Curls.
Was it Mark Curls? That's who you're talking. Okay. So we have a baseball umpire, Perry Costello, probably the most hated umpire in Arkansas sports history. Penn Wagers for football. We need a basketball official too. Curls, I guess, would be that guy.
Curls is a football referee, and if you Google his picture, you'll know him exactly. He was the one that, quote unquote, screwed us out of the victory when we played Florida back when Tim Tebow was playing.
There's one. Mike in Fort Smith is right. Dana Altman.
Ooh.
Altman, yeah, and I remember I did put a seventh option out there. About an hour and a half after I put the original 6. Altman was the guy. That's right. That's the guy who was a Razorback coach for less than 24 hours. And if he is stuck in a house with a bunch of Razorback people, who is going to be the first to jump out of the window of a 26-story building where you're on the 26th floor? I think it might be Altman at that chance. W. Wick says it's Mark Curls. Yeah, that's right. That jerk. That's your typing.
Yeah, that was me typing back to him. Yeah,
you're the one calling him a jerk.
Well, do you remember that game at all? It was 2008. I think it was Petrino's first year. We weren't smacking Florida, but we were hanging in there. And I think we had the lead. I believe it was 21-13. I could be correct. I'm wrong in saying that. Then they called a ridiculous, unnecessary roughness on us when our guy just got completely shoved down to the ground. There was that, and then there was a second penalty in there somewhere, and eventually Florida scored, and then Florida did what Florida did then. It was 20. Oh, it was 20-13, and then we lost 23-20.
We got a text from the 870 saying Doug Shows for basketball referee, and I'm not sure who that is, so I'm not quite sure. But I think Alton belongs in one of them. I think Curls would belong in another. It's basically it's the fly in the ointment. The one reason why you wouldn't go into that house. So again, if you go to Phil Elson PXP on Twitter, I've got one Razorback broadcaster in each house. Chuck, Coach Z, me, Quinn Grovey, Bubba, Bo Mattingly. We've got one radio host, Ruskin, Rick Schaefer, Acree, Rainwater, Ty, Berticini. We've got real journalist writers, Tom Murphy, Dudley Dawson, Richard Davenport, our friend Clay Henry coming up in 20 minutes, Wally Hall, Bob Holt, one recruiting analyst or somebody that focuses on the web in Nikki, Pete Roulier, Hutch, Trey Biddy, Danny West, Scotty Bordelon. We've got one in each house that's a TV personality, Bobby Swafford, Tara Talmadge, Jason Carroll, Wes Moore, Mike Irwin, Steve Sullivan, and then one person that you don't even want to look at cross-eyed. Costello, Malzahn, Saban, Calipari, Morris, Penn Wagers. So I need 3 more houses to build. I will take nominations throughout the rest of the show.
There we go.
877-377-6963 for your nominations. You got to give me people you'd like to live with, and it's got to be in the Razorback universe. media members, broadcasters, writers, and then the one person you know would be the deal breaker. Because this is how you have fun at this time when we aren't quite sure how to have fun. You be a smartass and force people to make a decision they don't really want to make. So, again, it's 877-377-6963. Will there be football coming up in the fall? Well, we've got a couple of differing opinions from Mike Gundy and Mac Brown. We've got sound from both of them coming after the break, so stay tuned.
The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Carl, who is the worst sports fan?
2018 Texas A&M game. Late in the fourth quarter, this middle-aged woman, I haven't talked to her, said anything to her, anything like that. She throws the bird in my face. So I said something to her, Weight Watchers and stuff like that. I was about the Bills Mafia table in there in Cowboy Stadium. I was so mad.
Don't miss The Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time.
Spring is here, and there's no better time to get back out on the road. Time for winter's rolled down and radios turned up. Southern Tire Mart proudly offers America's most trusted brands, such as Toyo. They also offer oil changes, tire alignments, and much more. Trust Southern Tire Mart for your last-minute getaways, open-road adventures, and memories that outlast the drive. When you can rely on your tires, you're free to enjoy the ride. Your Toyo tires are waiting for you at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith. Southern Tire Mart and Toyo. They'll keep you rolling.
Are your real estate investments being properly managed? Are you sending a check or cashing a check each month? If you're tired of your current property managers, then call Trinity Multifamily. Trinity will qualify your tenants and leases, inspect your properties, and take care of maintenance and provide you with web-based access to current financial reports, leases, and pictures of your property. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device. Backyard vacations. That's what Burton Pools and Spas can do for you and your family. Hi, Tommy Kraft here from my good friends at Burton Pools and Spas. Have your summer plans been changed? Why not vacation in your own backyard with an in-ground or above-ground pool from Burton Pools and Spas? And Burton Pools and Spas understands your summer plans have likely changed. That's why they have special savings to make your backyard your vacation place this summer. Save up to $700 off on Doughboy above-ground pool packages. Hot Spring Spas with instant savings and rebates up to $3,300 off. And endless pool fitness systems with $10,000 in savings right now. And you can count on Burton Pools and Spas to be there every step of the way. They're locally owned, locally operated, and they've been around for more than 40 years. Vacation in your own backyard this summer with Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
This This is halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
67-66. Vandy's not going to call a timeout. We got an offensive foul. Saban Lee pushed off his 5th foul of the game, and Arkansas is going to get the ball with 8.2 to go.
We're back on halftime. ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com. Phil Elson, SmackDown, Matt Jenkins, Matty T. And some news coming out involving Arkansas basketball that the loan commitment for Eric Musselman for the 2021 recruiting class, Duncan Powell, has reopened his recruitment and for the time being decommitting from Arkansas. This tweet coming out 27 minutes ago. And this is the wording of his message. I would like to thank Coach Musselman and staff for believing me, all the Arkansas fans for supporting me. However, I am reopening my recruitment 100%. Says Arkansas will still be a heavily considered school. Just wants to make sure he's making the right decision for his college career. And, of course, the usual respect my decision. Powell is 6'8", out of DeSoto High School in Dallas, Texas. And again, it says he is still going to consider Arkansas, but he is no longer a commit to the University of Arkansas. So he still has another year of basketball to play high school.
I can't blame him for that.
You really can't. And I think he puts it in the right case here. Arkansas still heavily considered. Just wants to be sure he's making the right decision for his college career.
Can't blame him. I mean, yes, selfishly, you wish he'd just permanently commit, but as a kid, 16, 17 years old, and he still has a year left of high school ball to go, let him go experience it, because I'm sure, he'll get more offers now heading into his senior year, and just let him see, and then, like you said, it's not like he's fully, he is decommitted, but still heavily considering Arkansas, so hopefully this is just like a little vacation for him, then he'll come back to his home.
So there was some conversation yesterday from two high-profile college football coaches that come down apparently on differing sides of the aisle here. And I'm not talking the political aisle. I'm just talking about when and if players can return to campus to either get practice going or if there will be games sometime in the fall. I have a feeling, and I think this is probably the right way to go about it, that the NCAA is going to have to go by the idea of when the students return to campus. And it would seem these things go together. If you can have students on campus and having classes, in some cases of 200 people or more, then you can have, an 88-person football team getting together for meetings and for real practice and contact, and then get the sort of the time frame going for the start of the season. As of right now, I don't think anybody's got a real clue as to when that can start. But Mike Gundy wants this to start on May the 1st, even though his league, the Big 12, has suspended all in-person meetings or any ability to meet in person with your players until May 31st. So, Gundy, and look, Mike Gundy does speak off the cuff all the time. I guess that's one of the reasons why we find him entertaining. But you end up coming to a place where I just don't know if it makes a lot of sense. Now, there's a couple of things he says here that do make sense. This is one that I think we all believe, that we do need to have football back at some point.
We need to get back to playing football for a variety of reasons if the medical people say we can. We don't need to let 1 or 2 months take that away from us. There's too many people that are relying on it.
Well, there are a lot of people that are relying on it, but there's also a lot of people that are relying on the idea of stopping the spread of this virus that is causing so many problems throughout our country and throughout the world. And I don't think that you can necessarily get back to what I think Gundy wants, of some sense of normalcy of getting players there on May 1st and adhering to a schedule that was set out last year as to when you can practice and when fall camp will begin. And there it is, week 0, just before Labor Day, that you're going to play. I think Gundy still wants to play on that schedule. I just don't know if you can do that. Here's another quote from his press conference yesterday.
We got to have a plan, and so let's just stay on schedule. Everybody needs to relax, okay? And I'm not taking away from the danger of people getting sick. You have the virus. Stay healthy. Try to do what we can to help people that are sick, and we're losing lives, which is just terrible. But then the second part of it is that we still have to schedule and continue to move forward as life goes on and do everything we can to help those people.
We can't schedule right now. That's the problem. I think you can definitely think of the idea that, we need football. As sports fans, as organizations that make money off of sports and specifically football, which brings in the most, yes, the economy needs it and our sports economy needs it. But I just don't think that can come at the expense of the health of the student athletes.
No.
And one of the things that he said, we're dealing with 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds. Theoretically, the healthiest of all of us, right? These are still people that can get sick and can pass the virus on to anybody else within a 6-foot radius, or anybody that they're touching or blocking or tackling or throwing a football to. And I just don't think that as of right now you can realistically look at May 1st and say this is going to happen. Not when the University of Arkansas now has announced that all summer school sessions will be virtual. Will we get students on campus in the fall? Maybe. And I think when we know if students can return to campus, that's when we'll know if the football players can return too. I doubt that one returns without the other. This is much different from the conversation about what Major League Baseball wants to do, which I still don't think will happen. This whole central location in May in Arizona. Keep in mind, the student athletes have no say. They have no union. They have no power. This baseball plan does not happen unless the players' union buys in, and that's why I don't think it's going to happen. They're the ones that will worry about the safety of the players. Who's going to worry about the safety of the student athletes when a high-profile coach is saying, hey, they're young, they can fight this virus off? I don't know if Gundy's really all that worried about his players' health.
It brings into question about that. You just almost got to think, and sometimes and in his defense, and I'm not saying this like that he should be defended with this, people don't know. I mean, you have your opinion on how this thing goes. I'm sure I do. Matty T does. Tommy does. Everybody has their opinion on how this thing is going to work itself out. The thing about it is, every opinion's not proven fact. There is not a proven fact of how this thing is going to, or when this is going to end. If it's safe to get out there in the summer and get going on May 1st, like you talked about, could it be? You very well could. I mean, you don't know.
No,
it's almost like anything like. Go ahead.
May 1st is way too unrealistic. Not when the league that he coaches in is not even allowing them to meet in person until May 31st.
And the NCAA canceling the college baseball in June.
Exactly. It sounds to me like a coach who is so used to knowing that everything he says is taken in an entertaining way and is going to go viral, quote unquote, and it's another instance of coach worship going too far and a coach believing that what he says actually meant something. And I don't think what Gundy says means all that much. I think it's a guy who's bored that is worried that the money spigot isn't going to start more than anything else. And contrast that with the opinion coming from Mac Brown, a guy who has won a national championship and has worked in the media and is now rebuilding North Carolina. He's coming from a completely different perspective as he spoke on Paul Feinbaum yesterday.
I don't think it's safe. If it's not safe for fans, it's not safe for players. They're going to be right next to each other. I mean, they're going to be hitting each other in the mouth and breathing on each other for 3.5, 4 hours. So I just don't see that working either way.
And then Brown goes on with this thought about the idea of football without fans to begin with.
I don't think we can have football without fans. I mean, I can't even fathom it. So that's not even something that I think about or talk about. Because, number one, financially, football supports all the other sports. Football and basketball are your revenue producers. So for athletic directors, for universities, for all the other sports, financially, it's really important that we have fans and we have TV games. We sometimes we take that stuff for granted. We shouldn't. I'll never take anything for granted again.
To me, this is two diametrically opposite sides of the spectrum here. You got a coach in Mac Brown who's coming from the extreme cautious side. No fans. And he's not even talking. I think he's talking about the atmosphere, obviously, but he's talking more about the idea of if you can't have fans on the stands, then how can you have players on the field?
Right.
You know, are you really going to be able to quarantine 130 Division I football programs? That's why I don't think the baseball plan is realistic. I don't think you're going to be able to quarantine everybody that deals with the 30 major league teams. I do believe in humankind's ability to figure out some pretty crazy situations, but in 1 month, I just don't see the logistics coming together. I'm more with Mac Brown on this end of the conversation than I am with Mike Gundy. And that probably goes for most things, too, other than haircuts. 877-377-6963. Clay Henry coming up in just a moment. Call the Fence Man if you need a fence that gives your business more security, more curb appeal. 479-782-3936, the phone number. The Fence Man, specializing in custom installations. Been doing it for over 40 years. That's 479-782-3936. The Fence Man is a division of Quantum Property Services. Stay tuned. Clay Henry next.
Wave Rural Connect is bringing state-of-the-art fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. Get amazing fast fiber internet, 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for only $79.95 per month. TV packages from the basics to our amazing altered TV, starting at $32.95. Fiber phone services start at $29.95. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out if we are installing in your area, or call 1-833-4-WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Art's Barbecue and Burgers is still open, taking care of the community and keeping you safe. Art's Barbecue and Burgers at 8203 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith is taking care of their customers in the drive-thru, curbside pickup, or use the Waiter app and have it brought to you. Call 452-2550 and Art's will have your order ready. That's 452-2550. Eat local at Art's Barbecue and Burgers, 8203 Rogers Avenue next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
We're now living in uncharted waters with the spread of COVID-19. With the partial closing of a lot of businesses, sadly, some will soon try and turn your possessions into their possessions. Guardtronic has been providing security for homes and businesses for over 60 years. Whether you need a camera system to keep an eye on things or a complete home security system, call Guardtronic 479-785-2323 or go online to guardtronic.com. We have so many worries these days, safety should not be one of them. License E50.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
This is ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
Joe, for the record, gets it from the corner. Isaiah with the three. That's his 103rd of the year, and he sets an Arkansas record for made three-point baskets in a season.
Editor, publisher, Hogs Illustrated. You could read his columns, Whole Hog Sports. Clay, I had one question before we get into some of the stuff with Eddie Sutton. I've put together a list of houses. You know, who you're going to quarantine with, and I threw a little fly in the ointment with each of the houses, because all of these houses involve media members that cover Arkansas athletics, and you're in one of these houses too. Who did I put you with? I put you with Quinn Grovey, Randy Rainwater, Trey Biddy, Wes Moore, and John Calipari. That's the fly in the ointment. The other guys I've put in these houses that will cause Arkansas fans to probably not want to walk into the house: Perry Costello, Gus Malzahn, Nick Saban, Chad Morris, Penn Wagers. I thought Dana Altman would fit. Who do you think would belong as one? I'm looking for villains. Can you give me another really good villain for Arkansas athletics?
Yeah, I've got and this will be back in a day. You know, I'm gonna go back. In referees, you got one that's just referees. You know, like if you see these guys, you go, oh, I'm gonna throw up. And Horton Nestra was the referee that called pass interference against Nathan Jones in the tie game at Texas Stadium when SMU tied Arkansas. They went for the tie. They kicked the extra point Bobby Collins did when they were ranked number 2, that basically took them out of the national championship, but it locked up the Southwest Conference championship. But Horton Nestor called the pass interference when the SMU receiver ran right up the back of Nathan Jones. Nathan Jones had perfect position. I've never seen that call repeated.
Okay.
So, and then did you have Preston Watts? He was the Liberty Bowl official. He was the Liberty Bowl official in 1971 when Tennessee beat Arkansas, and he stole the game with 2 calls. One, a holding penalty on the wingman of a made Arkansas field goal, took points off the board, and then in the final seconds, Arkansas was running out the clock, and John Richardson fumbled. Tom Reed, the captain of the team, jumped on the ball, cradled it, got out of the pile, handed it to Preston Watts, and he scored. They went in for the winning touchdown.
That's
so
good stuff there.
You put Horton Nestra and Preston Watts in that room, and no one will go in. No one. I mean, it would be like that. If they all had corona, you would not. You just would like, maybe it'd be the safest spot in the world, but you still wouldn't go in there.
I love the name Horton Nestra. That sounds like a Bond villain. That needs to be one of the guys in the house. That is one of the best. Yep. That's a great name for an official people love. All right, for that people hate. All right, let's get into the stuff with Eddie Sutton here. Is it safe? Would it be? I know this isn't a nickname for him, but if you're going to call somebody like the godfather of Arkansas basketball, and I know that Nolan had the most success, but where it all seemed to start to me, it starts with Eddie Sutton. I think he's the godfather of Arkansas basketball. What do you think?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, there's without question that it changed the way Arkansas fans viewed basketball. I mean, it was something to entertain you during football recruiting before. That's my best way to explain what basketball was. It's like, well, football recruiting was much more important in January and February than basketball, but at least maybe for a day or for 2 hours you take your mind off of football recruiting to listen to a basketball game. You certainly didn't go to Fayetteville to watch it, but you might listen to it on the radio. And it was, it was out there, but it wasn't something that you focused on. That changed when Eddie came, and then it heightened under Nolan Richardson. So
I keep hearing, Clay, that Eddie was
great coach, though.
Was Eddie really ahead of his time as far as how to communicate with people? Because I read about, he's one of the first coaches to welcome TV cameras inside the locker room, and it seems to be such an elementary thing now. But, was Eddie ahead of his time as to how to communicate?
Well, so here's this is a little bit on my background. So I went to the Tulsa World in 1979. It was right after the Final Four, because I was at the Final Four to cover Marvin Delph. I was the sports editor of the Conway Log Cabin. My brother was the SID at Arkansas, and after the practice at the Checker Dome, the first day up there, my brother says, "Hey, you got your car?" I said, "Yep." He says, "Bill Connors is a sports editor of the Tulsa World. He's here, and he needs a ride back to his hotel. Would you take him?" Well, that car ride led to my job the next summer at the Tulsa World. We talked for an hour. I drove him back. But let me just kind of reverse a little bit. Bill Connors and Eddie Sutton were best friends at Oklahoma State. They both went there. Bill worked for the school newspaper. Eddie was star player for Henry Iba. Bill Connors and Frank Broyles were close because Bill covered Arkansas football in the early 60s, like just about the same way my dad did. Very close to Frank Broyles. Almost from the word go, he would promoted Eddie Sutton to be the next Arkansas head coach when Van Eman. So Eddie was at Creighton. So let me just, to answer your question, because of Bill's position as a sports editor of the best paper in Oklahoma, Eddie knew that the media was so important, whether it be TV, whether it be radio. Eddie was the first coach that understood the whole package, in my opinion. So that was, yes, I think he was different in that respect and embraced the media like no coach except Frank Broyles. Frank Broyles was the same way. He understood the importance of media. Long answer to a short question.
That's why we love you, Clay.
Got Clay Henry here on Halftime. Clay, want to transition over to college basketball for the Razorbacks specifically right now. A couple things we're going to touch on later in the show. Matt Harms, the big center coming out of Purdue, kind of shocked the world when he decided to transfer from Purdue, and he has Arkansas listed in some of these 40 programs that have reached out to him. I guess my question is, I know you can never turn down a great player, but is the Razorback basketball program in a case where they need a Matt Harms to come to Arkansas? Because there's already 11, 12, possibly could be even 13 guys that could theoretically get playing time next season.
So I think big guys are always at a premium, and you figure out, okay, you got fouls to divvy up, and you need backup centers, you need starting centers, you need a rotation, you need twin towers. I mean, if you go back and you look at Nolan's great teams, the ability to have Corliss Williamson, 6'7", or whatever he was, 6'6", who played, like a low post demon. Then you had 6'11", Lee Wilson, 6'11", Darnell Robinson, 6'9", Dwight Stewart. That's the strength of that team, that they had fouls. They were not lack for rebounding in the last 5 minutes because of foul trouble. And I think if you go back to 1978, Arkansas's doom against Kentucky was Steve Shaw, the center, 6'11". He picked up 3 fouls in a blink of an eye. Changed that game, and Kentucky was able to control the down-low part of the game and rebound. So is there room on that roster for a 7-footer? I think there's, without question, you have to take a step back and say, let's consider this.
I want to transition to college football just for a second, then we'll get back to basketball with Phil. there's a big article was published by Brett McMurphy and Stadium talking about the ADs overwhelmingly wanting to add to the college football playoff and expand it to potentially 8 teams. Do you think this could be is this a good thing for college football to expand to 8 teams, or do you think we should try to pull back and just stay here at 4?
I think they're going to go to expansion. I mean, I think everybody's known that. Every time that you hear Bill Hancock say nothing is changing, nothing's going to be anything different than what we have right now, then you listen to athletic directors talk about adding another Power 5 team to the schedule. In other words, everybody has one now. You're non-conference. In the schedules that are being made 5 and 6 and 7 years out, everybody's going to have 2 teams. Well, it's all because of strength of schedule to be able to make that 8-team playoff. It's coming. I don't know how soon it's coming, but it is coming, and I think everybody wants it. I don't think – it's just like you start leaving out the Pac-12 on a yearly basis, well, eventually they're going to have to go to 8 teams. You can't leave a conference out over and over and over. And I think it's going to help the SEC. There'll be 2 teams in every year from the SEC. They'll of that next 4, one of those will be another SEC team, unless something dramatically changes in the power of that conference.
Just wonder if they're going to put an emphasis on conference champions from the championship games to make it into that football playoff. And I know some people just think that the idea of conference champions making it in doesn't make sense sometimes. What do you think the idea? Because that's drawing the comparison between basketball and football. I don't know if that necessarily works. What do you think?
No, I don't think that it'll be conference champions, because I think that locks them down. That's too much finite, because there's so many times that you could have a conference champion that has 3 losses. They could lose 2 non-conference game, 1 and then you've got another team from that conference that's ranked really high and would be the logical one to bring in. They do not want to reward somebody for playing schedule that gets them in just because they won their conference. I like the idea of the best 8 teams, and regardless of but I think you'll end up with a lot of conference champions just because of their strength of their ranking.
Last thing I want to touch on, and I want to go back to Eddie for a moment here. I think we get a lot of us remember how Nolan left and the ugliness that was surrounding that situation. Why did Eddie leave the way that he left? Talking about I'll crawl to Lexington. What was it about what had happened his last year at Arkansas? Was it a relationship with Frank? Was it, grass greener in Lexington because it's Kentucky? Why did Eddie leave Arkansas to begin with?
Yeah, I think Eddie had some demons and some personal problems that we've all seen documented. The substance stuff, and I think Frank wanted that cleaned up, and so they were butting heads, and I think that those comments were directed specifically to Frank. And it's really hard to read comments when you don't know where they're coming from, who they're directed, because it's just a blanket deal. I'd crawl to Kentucky. And I think a lot of Arkansas fans took it the wrong way. It took a long time for Arkansas fans to forgive Eddie over that, but they did. And he was embraced and has been, treated with reverence and respect for many, many years. And to be honest, the healing came between Frank and Eddie. They were very close for many of the last 20 years. So all things heal in time. But I think that's the sad part about when a member of the family leaves, sometimes there's hard feelings, and those happen, but fortunately they faded away.
Clay, appreciate you joining us, man, as always.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for the conversation. Have a great week, and we'll do it again Wednesday next week.
No quarantine with you, Phil. I'm not going in the same house with you.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. Just you and a fish.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Take it easy.
No Horton Nestra for sure.
No Bond villains in
All
my
right,
house.
guys.
None. That's Clay Henry joining us here on Halftime. Hey, if you live in Baxter County, go download the Baxter Regional Care app to your phone. It's free on the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, or just go to BaxterRegionalCare.com. This is what you'll use if you don't feel good enough to go to the hospital. The Baxter Regional Care app offers access to 24-hour medical professionals. They'll access, diagnose, and treat your condition and prescribe medication if needed. Just $69 per visit. That's the Baxter Regional Care app, your 24-hour on-demand doctor. First hour wraps up. Halftime next.
You have work to do. You need a tractor that helps get it done. TYM has the full range of tractors designed to meet the task. With the TYM easy-to-use controls and features, switching from one job to another is easy. And with the full range of models from 19 horsepower to 105 horsepower turbo, there's a TYM tractor that's right for the job and for you. But you can't buy a TYM tractor just anywhere. It's only sold at authorized TYM dealers like Bush Tractor, 7301 South Zero, Fort Smith.
The Paint Store in Van Buren is ready to help with your projects, and they'll put 32 years of experience to work in helping you choose a new color or match the one you really need. In addition to a computer, they use their eyes and minds to see color and make adjustments to choose just the right Richards Paints product for your project. They keep samples in your name and address for 10 years. No other paint seller does this. Come see the large selection of the current and popular paint colors from Richards Paints and experience customer service you won't get anywhere else. The Paint Store, 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren.
When it comes to your gas bill, one size does not fit all. So AOG offers many payment options. Did you know you can arrange to pay online with a click of a mouse or pay by phone? You can even sign up for automatic bill payment from your checking or savings account. AOG also has a paperless billing option to reduce that clutter in your mailbox. Of course, you can bring your payment to our 24-hour drop box or to one of many convenient locations throughout our service area. To find a payment option that's a perfect fit, visit AOGC.com.
Even though things have changed right now, CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers remains open to help keep your family fed. You don't have to sacrifice the wonderful flavor of fresh, daily ground beef burgers or piping hot fries at all. The Fayetteville location on Weddington delivers lunch or dinner through the Waiter app, or come on over and use the drive-thru. CJ's in Russellville is open for pickup during normal business hours, and as always, they're making sure everything is sanitized and safe for you. Don't forget to download the CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers smartphone app for an easy way to order. CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers has you covered, because when all you do are burgers, they have to be the best.
Drive-through.
I'm Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, and you're watching the Rutledge Report. The governor declared a state of emergency. Price gouging laws are now in effect. Businesses and individuals cannot charge 10% more than they did before. Bad actors will face criminal charges and a fine of up to $10,000 per item. Report price gouging to my office. At the Attorney General's office, we will do the fighting for you. Call us at 800-482-8982 or visit arkansasag.gov.
Business owners, if your carpets and floors show the effects of too much foot traffic, call the professionals at your local Service Master Clean. Whether it's janitorial cleaning or specialty cleaning to eliminate dirt and grime from carpet, hardwood, tile, and laminate floors, no job is too big or too small. Service Master Clean has been an industry leader for more than 60 years. Call your local Service Master Clean, 479-646-4087. That's 646-4087 or ServiceMasterPC.com.
Okay, you know how it feels when you've saved enough for that long-awaited home edition? Now imagine an addition on that addition. That's the feeling with Capital One, where a new savings account earns an interest rate 5 times the national average. That's right, 5 times, as represented by 5 times more singers. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Rate comparison based on FDIC national rate. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
This is ESPN 95.3. This is Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
6 seconds remain. Madden puts it up. Wow! What a finish! Bobby Portis, the magic man, arrives just in time. The tip-in and zeros on the clock.
Well, basketball talk to close out the first hour of halftime on this Wednesday. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts. Arkansas has announced that next year when they play, well, this year, I guess next season, in North Little Rock, can I still call this the arena with no teams, or do I have to call it Simmons Bank Arena? They've prettied it up. The arena in North Little Rock looks a lot nicer than it did before the name change from Verizon, which, I mean, the building on the outside just looked like it was dirty, rusty, and had no reason to walk inside. They've power washed the thing out. The Simmons Bank logo looks nice, but still there are no teams that play there on a consistent basis other than one time per year for Arkansas. So I still call that place the arena with no teams. That should be a change my mind for later on in the show, SmackDown.
It probably should, yeah.
It's not a big fan of the arena in Central Arkansas. But, you know, when the Hogs play there, they get a great crowd. Well, they have over 17,000 last game.
The crowd, me and my parents went to that game, and it was a game we probably should have won a lot more. The margin of victory should have been a lot more, but the atmosphere in there, and granted the officials helped out quite a bit with that, but it was a raucous crowd and packed to the brim, too.
Well, it's going to be Old Dominion, the Monarchs,
out
of Conference USA, playing the Razorbacks in North Little Rock. I see it is on December the 19th.
Yep.
So that's usually on a Saturday, the Saturday before Christmas. They had the doubleheader with the women's basketball team this past year. It was a split doubleheader. Of course, Mike Neighbors' team played UALR, and that was historic. No announcement as to if it will be another doubleheader for Arkansas basketball. For me, it makes perfect sense to have both teams playing on the same day in the same building. But I did hold out hope that it would be an Arkansas versus UALR men's game. I still think that they'll try to work that out at some point. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if at some point there is an announcement that it's Arkansas UALR for the women's side. Although, I mean, we've had Mike Neighbors on before, and he's talked about this, that he'd love to get a home-and-home series with the Trojans, where you'd get Joe Foley to bring his team up to the Bud, and Mike would bring his team down to Jack Stevens Center, the Jack, as we call it here in the Rock, and play each other once a year. I think that makes great sense, but no announcement on the women's side yet.
It'd be a fun event. I know it was a lot of fun this past season, excuse me, doing the doubleheader down in Little Rock. It was a lot of fun last year, and it's always good to bring it, despite all the ruckus and everything else about having the Razorbacks play at War Memorial. It's always good when you can get them down there, just because for some people that's the only time they get to see the Razorbacks that year. Just because if you live in Central Arkansas, like we do, I mean, you're up here more often. But before I took this job, it's a 3.5 hour drive. I mean, yes, you people can do that, but some people can't. I know one person, it was the guy sitting next to us, he was at the Razorback game, and he made the drive all the way up from El Dorado.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those fans that you're catering to that live in southern Arkansas that can't theoretically make the trip as frequently as they could to Fayetteville. So,
well, as the tradition of football games at War Memorial has lessened to, I mean, not even a trickle. You're not going to have a game here this year because, even before all of spring practice got canceled, the SEC wasn't going to allow a waiver to allow the Hogs to play the spring game at War Memorial. So that tradition it feels pretty much dead. And at the same time as that's gone on over the last 20 years or so, you've seen the tradition of the basketball team coming here once a year is something that the folks in Central Arkansas get really fired up for. I never hear anybody complaining about that. And the one baseball game that Dave brings his team in for is just a spectacle, and everybody loves that one too. But of course, I mean, you get 56 baseball games, you get 30 basketball games, so you get a little more opportunity to show your team off in the central part of the state once per year. For football, obviously, it's a much different situation, and you don't want to be stuck with what you had last year where, how many conference games were there in Fayetteville last year? 3. When you get A&M in Jerry World and you get Mizzou in Little Rock. Yep. So, obviously, big decisions to be made there. And then also, speaking of basketball scheduling, looking way ahead, Arkansas will play in next year's Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City, Missouri.
Ooh.
And the year after, they're going to be in the Maui Invitational, baby.
Yes.
That's right. So both those Thanksgiving deals involve games on campus, but of course that does mean Arkansas will travel as well. I'm assuming, but I'm not assuming, I'm knowing for a fact, it's a lot easier to get to Kansas City than it is to Hawaii. But the Maui Invitational is probably the best and most well-known Thanksgiving tournament at the Lahaina Civic Center. I had I spent a week in Maui. For a honeymoon, for a marriage that doesn't exist any longer, so make of that what you will. It's a lovely place, and it's a great – hey, that's the place where the coaches are going to be wearing Hawaiian shirts instead of they don't wear a lot of suits anyway. I guess Muss will just have to have a collared shirt with some flowers on it.
I would love to see Musselman in a Hawaiian Razorback shirt.
I'm going to guarantee that he's got a few of them ready to go for some Instagram live broadcasts, and he'll be wearing them when he's coaching Arkansas at the Lahaina Civic Center in a couple of years. I don't know where Arkansas is playing this next Thanksgiving. Hadn't seen an announcement about that. Is it Vegas? That's right.
Yeah, it's that Vegas Classic with Louisville, and I can't remember the other 2 teams off the top of my head. But, yeah, Las Vegas this year.
Well, they stayed home in Muss's first year, so you don't do that anymore. So
Nope.
They get to Vegas, Kansas City, and Maui over the next 3 years.
That's going to be fun.
Fun places for turkey and round ball.
Can we go to Maui in 2022?
Hey, if we're still doing this show in a couple of years, we will we'll see if we can get Tommy to foot the bill, as long as we're still doing the show.
That is true.
Which continues in the second hour after the break. 877-377-6963, the number on halftime. We are right back.
New Bud Light Seltzer, huh?
Yep.
And it tastes like a hard seltzer, not a beer?
Yep.
So it's light and refreshing?
Yep.
With a hint of fruit flavor?
Yep.
And 100 calories?
Yep.
You said this is Bud Light Seltzer?
Yep.
Well, I need to try it.
Yep.
Oh, that tastes great.
Yep.
Now, wait, are you just yupping me?
Nope.
Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beers, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Knockouts, Haircuts for Men is coming to Fort Smith. It's such a big deal, we brought in a real ring announcer to set the scene.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, armed with scissors, a pair of clippers, and if you're lucky, a smile, it's that same old hair place that takes your money and sends you on your way. But in this corner, Knockouts, Haircuts for Men, where you get the best haircut of your life from one of the Knockout Girls, a cold beer if you want it, and sports on every TV in the building.
Knockouts, Haircuts for Men, opening soon in Fort Smith.
Protect tender spring plants with Green Thumb Premium Color Mulch from Metters Lumber True Value. Right now, any 5 bags are just $15 while supplies last at Metters Lumber True Value. The 2 cubic foot bags come in your choice of red, black, or brown. This attractive mulch acts as a natural weed barrier and helps retain moisture. Pick up this spring bargain of the month today while supplies last at Metters Lumber True Value. 218 Commerce Drive in Alma. Family owned and serving you for more than 75 years. That's Metters Lumber True Value.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Hey everyone, this is Scott at Calico County, and the coronavirus has disrupted everyone's schedule, and Easter is no exception. Our churches will be closed, and the restaurants will too. So Calico County is offering Easter family meals that can be picked up on Saturday, April 11th to be enjoyed on Easter Sunday. So go to our website, calicocounty.net, and our Facebook page to see all the details. Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
clear to partly cloudy tonight. An overnight low will drop down in the low to mid 60s. We should see sunshine on Wednesday with maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm across the north. Our high temperatures are right around the middle 80s. And Thursday, a slight chance of a few showers across the north. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on at OGE.com.
Proceed. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
It's what I always listen to.
You guys are awesome, baby. You have these guys, ESPN in Arkansas. They do a good job.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious...
Jones for the win. He got it. He got it. He got it. Mason Jones banks in a three with 0.1 seconds to play.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Second hour halftime. Good to be with you. Phil Elson, Matt Smackdown Jenkins, Matty T. Horton Nestra, basketball official extraordinaire, football official extraordinaire. Clay Henry has said Horton Nestra should be one of the villains in one of our houses that nobody will want to live in for quarantine. So I did say, Smackdown, that sounds like a Bond villain, and
it really does.
He knows some Bond movies. I mean, this to me is better than even some of the other real Bond villains. You know, like let's see, what's a better Bond villain name, Wolfgang Wiesen or Horton Nestra? What do you think?
Oh, I'm gonna defer to Matty T.
This from the book called Never Send Flowers. What about David Dragonpole or Horton Nestra?
Horton Nestra sounds more like a that's a Bond one.
My favorite name for a Bond villain is Hugo Drax. Though, what was Christopher Walken's character? Max Zorin of View to a Kill. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a scary one too. Remember they drop their victims from an aircraft that's in the middle of the air over an ocean.
Yeah,
that's a tough way to go. A really tough way to go. 877-377-6963. Will Matt Harms choose Arkansas? You brought this up with Clay Henry earlier, Smackdown. 7'3"? Really? I mean, I thought Connor Vanover was tall.
Harms is a beast. He played very well for Purdue this year. It was one player that you really kind of weren't expecting him to transfer. He can play immediately. I believe he would come under the graduate transfer rule, so he could get minutes this season. He averaged 8 points a game last season, 4 boards, and assists, and shot 50% from the field. To me, I wouldn't have put this in for us to talk about, but the fact that the dude is 7'3", and you don't get guys like this that come across the grad transfer radar very often. You've got one on your roster, and I tend to agree with Clay because I hadn't really thought about it. If you can get a pair of 7-footers to either A, start together, or have one start and then you got another one coming off the bench, you almost got to go after a 7'3", don't you?
If you took Matt Harms and stood him on Connor Vanover's shoulders, that's 14 foot 4 inches. That's probably more height than all of last year's Arkansas basketball team put together.
That'd be
just
accurate.
Amongst the two players. But really, I mean, how many teams even have 2 7-footers that get an appreciable amount of playing time? This is rare in college basketball. That would be my thought why Harms doesn't end up at Arkansas. Just because I don't know how often you're going to see 2 7-footers on the court at the same time. And remember, with the amount of minutes that Muss is going to have to divvy up for a very deep team next season, I think it'll be kind of tough to find the minutes that Harms is looking for. Of course, a lot of this conversation still depends upon what Isaiah Joe decides to do, or theoretically as well. And I'd be surprised if this would be the case. Maybe Mason Jones pulls his name out of the NBA draft. Maybe he doesn't get the news from the draft advisory board that he's hoping for. I think he's got another month or so before he's got to make that decision. But there's still, it's not like we're sitting here holding out hope that Mason Jones, decides to come back to Arkansas. But that's still, legitimate reality. I don't think he's going to come back. And from what Muss said on his Instagram live broadcast the other day, I think he's expecting Isaiah Joe to test the waters. But testing the waters is different than just, saying you're going to the draft, and I'm just going to go to the draft. I think Isaiah wants to find out what the advisory board says. And then when his decision is made public, you'll have a much better idea of what the available minutes are and where Arkansas will, what they'll have to look for to replace what they lose. But you're already going to get the 7-footer in Vanover. I know he doesn't necessarily play like I think what you might expect a 7-footer plays like, above the rim and being an outstanding rebounder. But I think he'll present a lot of matchup problems with his skill set.
Absolutely.
To shoot from the outside. And he will provide some defense around the rim that Arkansas really hasn't had since Daniel Gafford left. But I just wonder about the availability of minutes for another 7-footer like Matt Harms coming to Arkansas. Also, especially when you're getting interest from I know I was going to say every school in the country, but 40 different programs have reached out to him in his first 24 hours since he went into the transfer portal.
Yeah.
You're talking big programs. Oklahoma State.
There's a Kentucky in there too.
South Carolina, Syracuse, Texas Tech, Utah, Virginia Tech, Washington State, Oregon State, Seton Hall. These are all programs and power conferences. I don't necessarily know the roster situation for all of them, but I would assume that there's probably more available minutes for Harms to play with some of those schools than I think there will be for Arkansas. So I just don't know. Does Arkansas need him? Hey, who doesn't want another 7-footer if he can get him? Does he need Arkansas? I think that's the question to be answered.
Maybe it's just me, but doesn't it seem like, and this is no knock on Mike Anderson or our past coaches, it just seems like we've never gotten this much interest from graduate transfers in the past like we have this season, or as far as getting so many guys, not necessarily like they're coming to Arkansas, but at least they're hearing us out. And I think all of that goes to Eric Musselman because of that professional background that he knows, A, how to get players to the league, and B, what the league is looking for. Okay, and he mentioned that in this little press release that he did from Rivals, Matt Harms did. He believes he already has a NBA-ready skill set, and he wants to go somewhere where he can transition that to the pro level. Selfishly, what better coaches there out there in college basketball? I'm sure there's a few that can get him ready for the league. A year ago, we weren't even talking about Mason Jones potentially going in the second round, first, whatever it may be, going in the NBA draft. And look at him now; he's SEC Player of the Year, and potentially going to the NBA.
And still not showing up on mock drafts.
Right.
It's still not happening as far as look, and those aren't the people that are doing the drafting. It's NBA scouts, it's NBA general managers. Those are the ones.
You just need one person to see it.
And something tells me Mason is going to end up at a tryout camp and will impress somebody enough with his skill set to earn a spot in the G League, or if he wants to make some more money, you go overseas, like so many players do, because the G League doesn't really pay you as well as playing in Turkey or playing in Italy. So I don't think Mason's coming back. I still think that Isaiah could improve his draft stock a little bit. What Muss said on Instagram Live the other day also is that you have to keep in mind that what we saw from Isaiah Joe, even at the end of the season, is probably not what, that wasn't Isaiah at 100%. He just come off knee surgery, and it's understood that, he wouldn't have played if he wasn't healthy, but I don't think he was at full 100% really for after that knee injury that he suffered against Ole Miss from that point until the cancellation of the SEC tournament. And we still saw Isaiah shooting wonderfully from long range. I just want to see a fully healthy Isaiah Joe and what he's able to do maybe off the bounce and continue to impress defensively. But that's the other shoe that we've got to wait to drop. And I'll assume at some point over the next couple of weeks, Isaiah will make his decision or lack of a decision public. The other thing, too, he's a quiet guy. I don't think Isaiah is somebody that's really looking for a lot of publicity. And it's not that, Mason seemed a little more comfortable in front of the microphones than Isaiah did. I think Mason Jones enjoyed the spotlight and the press conferences and the ability to make an announcement like he made on Twitter a couple of weeks ago more so than Joe. I think Isaiah is kind of like a silent assassin. And look, when you've got that shooting range, you're definitely an assassin. He's just kind of goes about his business quietly. And, hey, no criticism for doing it the way that's comfortable for him.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't seem Muss is putting any pressure on him whatsoever about, hey, we need to know. He's behind him 100%, whatever decision he makes. He's going to get him ready for either playing for the Hawks next year or get him ready for hopefully a draft spot. All right, coming up after the break, do you want to see another level of football playoffs? And apparently, a lot of coaches and athletic directors in Division I want that. That'll be the topic next. Stay tuned on Halftime.
The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Carl, who is the worst sports fan?
2018 Texas A&M game. Late in the fourth quarter, this middle-aged woman, I haven't talked to her, said anything to her, anything like that. She throws the bird in my face. So I said something to her, Weight Watchers and stuff like that. I was about the Bills Mafia table in there in Cowboy Stadium. I was so mad.
Don't miss The Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine & Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, The Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, and controlled access for your business. Call The Fence Man and ask about 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. 479-782-3936. That's 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Are your workouts more fun than this? Well, if they are, then I want to sign you to an endorsement deal with Michelob Ultra. I'm looking for anyone and everyone who makes working out a blast. If that's you, head to TeamUltra.com for a chance to score awesome perks like Team Ultra gear and more. That's TeamUltra.com to enter.
No purchase necessary. Open U.S. residents 21 plus. See official rules at TeamUltra.com. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Backyard vacations. That's what Burton Pools and Spas can do for you and your family. Hi, Tommy Kraft here from my good friends at Burton Pools and Spas. Have your summer plans been changed? Why not vacation in your own backyard with an in-ground or above-ground pool from Burton Pools and Spas? And Burton Pools and Spas understands your summer plans have likely changed. That's why they have special savings to make your backyard your vacation place this summer. Save up to $700 off on Doughboy above-ground pool packages. Hot Spring Spas with instant savings and rebates up to $3,300 off. And endless pool fitness systems with $10,000 in savings right now. And you can count on Burton Pools and Spas to be there every step of the way. They're locally owned, locally operated, and they've been around for more than 40 years. Vacation in your own backyard this summer with Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
This is ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
Shot clock's at 10. Jones forces a three, and it goes anyway. Wow, Mason Jones with a three. Arkansas's up 67-62. Archie Miller wants a timeout with 2:01 to go.
5 more seasons of the current format of the college football playoff, where teams 1 through 4 face off in a 2-round playoff for the national championship. And it seems that if Brett McMurphy's survey on Watt Stadium is correct, then we're probably going to have a big change at the after the 2025 college football playoff concludes. I know SmackDown McMurphy was on with Ty, Tommy, and you this morning on the Morning Rush, and I got to be surprised here when I look at a whopping 88% of the surveyed athletic directors are in favor of expanding the college football playoff. When you had McMurphy on today, how did he explain all of this?
Well, first off, you can catch that interview. It's on SoundCloud. You can go to Hit That Line on SoundCloud. It's also on iTunes, Spotify. It's on our social media channels. Excuse me, to hear what Brett McMurphy had to say. Now, Ty would be better to ask for that because I was kind of in and out doing some other things, getting ready for our show. So he surveyed over the 130 FBS athletic directors. 112 responded. So
anonymously, too.
Anonymously,
so you don't know who
you don't know who did it. But yeah, at nearly every one of them, well, obviously, like you said, 88%. Want to see the playoff expanded, and I think everybody unanimously wants to see the same 4, a non-AQ or the non-automatic qualifier. I'm saying that wrong.
So the idea of we brought this up with Clay.
Right.
They want the Power 5 conference champions.
Yes,
win
correct.
The
yes, I'm sorry.
game
Yes.
of each conference to be participants. That would be the automatic qualifier.
Correct.
And then, as I understand, the consensus amongst these athletic directors is that you would have one group of 5 team,
right,
and 2 at-large schools from Power 5. So essentially, there'd be 7 Power 5 schools, and of course, you count Notre Dame amongst them,
right,
and then one group of 5 school.
Correct. That is yes.
So and I know we're gonna have Bill King on in the next segment. I know Bill is against expanding the college football playoff. A lot of media members are too, and a lot of times they point to the idea of the end of the regular season, or the 3 to 4 weeks leading up to the end of the regular season in and of itself are sort of like a playoff system anyway.
Right.
Like the Iron Bowl is sort of like a level of the playoff. Michigan, Ohio State is also kind of a piece of the playoff in a sense. I can see where they're coming from on this because, one loss near the end of the regular season usually is enough to knock you out. So they're viewed as playoffs anyway. And for the national champion that has to play, how many games you play? 15? Because if you win your division, you play in your conference championship. That's game number 12, and then there's the 2 extra games on top of that. Pardon me. So we're looking at 14. There are 15 games.
There's 15 if you get to the national championship.
If you get to the national champion. So now you're adding another game onto that. If you're doing 8, then you're down to 4, then you're down to 2. So then you're playing 3 more games.
Right.
And now you're talking about, college players playing essentially a full NFL season. Admittedly, with about maybe a 4-week layoff between the end of the regular season and when the playoffs start. But, I mean, there's too much money, I think, available for an expanded playoff for it to not happen. There's all these other formats that get tossed around, whether you do, 16 playoff, top 2 seeds get a bye, or whether you do a 16-team playoff. I think that's way too many because there's, to me, no way that there would be 16 teams that are legitimate to be a national champion. I could live with 8. I could live with the idea of 6 and having a bye for the top 2. And I'm okay if they do expand the playoff. I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. I do wonder a little bit, and Bill gets on this too, the thought of the conference championship games meaning a little too much for an automatic qualifier.
I'm of the proponent that it should just stay at 4, and maybe push it to 6. Just that way, like the only positive I see out of this is getting the potential for the lower tier schools, like a Boise State, the Florida,
Central Florida.
Yes, UCF. Schools like that having at least a chance without having to go undefeated and pray to God that something will go for their luck this year, because as the current system is right now, UCF could theoretically go undefeated and not have the quote-unquote strength of schedule to back it up that gets thrown around so much of so importance. To me, if you're right, 5th or 6th, and every once in a while you'll have one of those years where there's theoretically 5 or 6 teams that could win a national championship. I think this year, outside of maybe a couple states, I think everybody in America knew LSU was the best team in college football.
But I also think that it was clear cut.
Correct. Yeah, it was clear.
That the 4 teams that were in the playoff were the 4 best teams in the country.
Right.
I think that was extremely clear cut. I don't think Georgia belonged. I don't think Oregon belonged. Baylor or Wisconsin belonged in the conversation of, are these teams that belong in the conversation of national champion? And I think each year you could probably say that about some of the teams that are ranked,
right?
5 through 8, just because of the idea of having a little equity. And it doesn't mean that the 2018 Georgia Bulldogs belonged in the national championship conversation because they were ranked 5th by the playoff committee. They'd lost a couple of games. That's enough to knock you out of it. It is. So I really don't know if there are 8 teams every year that are legitimate national champion contenders. I can buy in the idea that each year there are 4.
Absolutely, yes. So I mean, to me, and it almost seems like if it goes this route, you're going to have to take away a game in the regular season, because theoretically now you're adding probably 16, 17 games potentially if you do go the 8-team playoff route. I mean, granted, professional players do it. I mean, heck, they just added them a 17th game of the year, so I mean, they can do it. And those guys probably don't care, but I mean, that's 18 games, potentially 17, 18, and that could take your toll on yourself. So
plenty of those players cared, by the way. When
that's
adding that 17th game. Yeah, they added money and everything like that. But I mean, that's a controversial thing because a football game takes a lot out of a person's body.
Yeah, and you add that, either taking away a game in the regular season, or it takes away from some of the bowl games, like the lower tier ones, I would assume. Potentially. It may not be able, it may not, and it may just be all roses and good. I don't know. It seems like there'll be more problems when you do an 8-team playoff, because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when you add to a playoff, it seems like the next day there's always going to be conversation. Oh, it shouldn't be 8, it should be 10. Then you bump it to 10, and then it should be 16, and then you're constantly you're constantly trying to figure out what the proper way to go is.
I have a feeling that the decision that's made after the 2025 season is the way it's going to be for 20 years or so. I think that the next decision by college football will be the last decision as to how you decide a national champion for a good long time. Because if you expand the playoffs to 8, there's no way that you'll be able to convince anybody to expand it to 16.
Right. No, I would agree with that. Plus, right, so like some of these text messages come in here, and you can jump in. Oh, yeah, they're coming in like crazy. It's all money. It comes down to, it comes more money for the conference play. Like that's what Justin said. He said, of course, the ADs would vote for it. That would make for an extra playoff game, essentially for the two that make for the championship. That's just more money for their conference.
Well, they might want to get one of those games onto their campus. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, look, TV's going to want it. ESPN's going to want it. And if the athletic directors are on board, and if you have 88% of 113 athletic directors that answer the survey, something tells me that it's going to happen, whether it makes sense or not. I think to the idea of real competition and who a real national champion contender is. So I just don't think every year there are 8 of them. I think sometimes you have a difficult time even figuring out who the number 4 team should be. Usually you're fairly clear cut on 1, 2, 3. 4 through 130 is a whole other conversation. Hey, don't forget to go to hitthatline.com or also our Twitter feed at hitthatline to vote on the latest installation of the 64 bracketed greatest Razorback game of all time. And he did have a little bit of an upset yesterday as Miracle on Markham 2, a 13 seed, defeated the 2000 Cotton Bowl, which was a number 4 seed. That's the biggest quote-unquote upset that this bracket has suffered so far.
We've got a lot of good matchups today. This is coming out of the Houston Nut region. We got the overall number 1 seed is a 64 win against Texas. The 8-9 matchup is a pair of Joe Adams' memorable plays, one of those being the Tennessee punt return and the other one being the pitch and run against Auburn, where he ran like 90 yards, and it seemed like it only took him 2.5 seconds to do it. The 7 overtime win against Ole Miss is the 5 seed in this region. DMAC running for 3.
It's an underseeded game, by the way.
You think so?
7 overtimes, 5 seed for me. It's a little better than that.
The 7 seed is a 2007 matchup against South Carolina, where DMAC ran for 321 yards. Potentially your upset here, and when I saw it this morning, the 2016 matchup, the 15 seed against number 15 TCU is beating the 75 matchup against number 2 Texas A&M, and that was as of this morning.
That was like Brett Bielema's last big win at Arkansas, the win over 15 TCU. All right, Bill King joining us after the break, talk college football. I also want to get Bill's idea on what still, as I think about it, seems a kooky, crazy idea for Major League Baseball to play all their games in Phoenix starting next month. He is a baseball guy, too, so we'll talk with the king of college football talk and a little baseball after the break. Stay tuned.
Attention Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members. Do you need a better internet provider? One who treats you like a member and not a number? Then check out our new fiber internet services from Wave Rural Connect. We are bringing state-of-the-art, high-speed fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. If you are an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Art's Barbecue and Burgers is still open, taking care of the community and keeping you safe. Art's Barbecue and Burgers at 8203 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith is taking care of their customers in the drive-thru, curbside pickup, or use the Waiter app and have it brought to you. Call 452-2550 and Art's will have your order ready. That's 452-2550. Eat local at Art's Barbecue and Burgers, 8203 Rogers Avenue next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house?
All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
In sports, success is measured in points, wins, and trophies. At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us, and the occasional trophy, like the one from J.D. Power for highest customer satisfaction among auto insurers in the Central region. For J.D. Power 2019 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Ask Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith or Jim Malum in Charleston about Shelter's home insurance.
Do you own apartment complexes, condos, and rental property? Then you have made a great investment. Now make another great decision by calling Trinity Multifamily to help you maximize your return. Trinity Multifamily offers full-service property management, marketing, leasing, sales, and all the services to make your cash flow. Take the hassles and frustrations out of ownership and call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
This is ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
Baseline drive. Sills feeds Joe left corner. Step back. 3 on the way from Isaiah. Perfect. Nothing but the bottom for Joe. And the Hawks are up 45-28.
I've been saying he's the best shooter in the country.
Go to the phones where our friend Bill King joins us. You can hear him 6 to 9, Nashville Sports Radio, Monday through Friday. He is the king of college football talk, but he's not just a football guy as well. Bill, what's going on? How's Nashville these days?
Well, I haven't seen it in a while.
That's right.
I've seen pictures, and it doesn't look like a whole lot's moving right now down there. So. Anyway, it's kind of slow here in the city. I'm south of it. I'm probably in Franklin. I'm about in this traffic, probably 30-minute drive, but usually about 40 minutes I can get in there, but it's going to be a while probably.
Sure, certainly will. Certainly will. I also think it's going to be a while before baseball gets played. I wanted to get your thoughts on this idea that Major League Baseball is trying to cook up. Of course, they've got to get the approval of the Players Association. Everything's got to come together very quickly. I mean, like in the next couple of weeks, I think. And the logistics of having 30 Major League teams in the Phoenix area with everything that has to go along with testing your players and the umpires and the broadcasters and the camera operators and everything that goes along with it. I love the outside-the-box thinking, but color me skeptical. I just don't think Major League Baseball can get this thing done in May. What's your idea?
Now, I'm not really keeping up with it, so I've got a question, then I'll answer it. Does the players' pay hinge on this?
I think some of it does. They're going to prorate the salary for games that are missed. So I think some of this does go along with the idea that pay to play, yes.
Right. Well, I could tell you the doctor we've had on twice. He said it's not feasible to just test people game day, whatever sport it might be, because the temperature test doesn't really answer all the questions. You could be asymptomatic and still be a carrier. You could have it, not know it, never show symptoms, and then be fine, and you can still give it to people. Now, you're not as radioactive as somebody who's laying in the hospital or somebody who's really sick, exposing themselves to people, but he said it's still a problem. So I don't know. That's the way I understand it. Maybe there's more. Maybe they can do more testing. I don't really know, but it doesn't seem feasible.
Well, let's translate that into college football then too, because I think we heard Mac Brown say this on Feinbaum yesterday. And I think that there's truth to this. When the students get back to campus, that's when players can probably return to campus as well. Do you think it is that simple, or do you think players can return for practices if students aren't there because of safety concerns?
I don't know that you can have one without the other because of, well, safety, but liability. I mean, can you get insurance on, okay, we're going to get our 100-man team together, 85 on scholarship, and I need to know what my premiums would be on if somebody gets infected and starts an outbreak. What's that going to run? I don't know that you can do that. Now, Gundy says we're going to start May 1st. I'm kind of excited about that. It's just a couple of weeks. I'm ready to go.
I know Gundy's going to be the other Big 12 schools won't be practicing, so Oklahoma State's going to have an upper hand on everybody else.
That's right. I love that. The best thing about that yesterday was the reaction. All the media, loudmouth on Twitter, all the reaction was that was I loved it. And like Gundy really thinks he has the power to bring everybody in on May 1. That was so funny.
I think he was trying to almost convince himself that it could happen. You know,
Right.
For me, it's an instance of a football coach maybe going a little stir crazy because he doesn't have football to worry about right now.
Right. I mean, Gundy makes what? T. Boone Pickens raised him so many times. I think he's in the mid-5s. He's getting paid no matter what. He's good.
So let me ask about the idea of this expansion of the college football playoff. We brought it up with in our last segment because Brett McMurphy was on Ty's show this morning from Watts Stadium, and apparently he's got this survey out there and had 112 respondents, all athletic directors. 88% of them apparently are in favor of expanding the college football playoff when the contract ends 2025. You know, and I think you're on record not as a supporter of expanding the playoff, but it seems the athletic directors want to do this. Why do you think they want to do it? Is it strictly money? Is it competition? Because I honestly can't look at 8 true national championship contenders at the end of November.
No, we had 3 this year. That was it. But I predicted before we got to the first playoff game, after the Alabama-LSU repeat that just had everybody in an uproar, shortly thereafter we were heading towards playoff a couple of years later. And I said before we ever got to it, they're going to expand before they get to the end of this contract. Contract's 12 years, and we're through 6, so we're halfway in. I've said that from the beginning. I'm totally against it, and I'm also totally against this model, which is, it sounds like the one they want to use, 5 conference championships, Power 5, 2 at-larges, and then let a non-P5 in. A terrible idea. But that's probably what they're going to do. And, again, I don't think it's going to be end of the contract 6 years out. I think they'll do it before then. Yes, it's about money. It's certainly about money, and it's also about the, quote, fairness of it. And they'll cloak it that way. But, it's coming. We don't know exactly the form. But I've said, again, I said when we were still at the end of the BCS, it ain't gonna make 12 years before they. Once you start with playoffs, the only question from then on is how many. And if you look, the NFL just expanded by 2 more.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody wants more playoffs, I guess. I mean, the TV networks want it. I think if it was up to the television networks, you'd probably have, a 16-team playoff. It would just be ridiculous.
Here's my dream. I want to do this job forever. I don't ever want to retire. We all know we have a finite career, but that's my dream. But if I'm going downhill, I want to be going downhill where I can acknowledge that the leadership has crushed the game by killing the regular season. I want to be able to look at that and point it out and then laugh in a diabolical way. That's the way I want to go out.
We got Bill King here on Halftime. Bill, just want to get your thoughts on another SEC coach that might be in a little bit of hot water after a tweet that came out, and that's Mike Leach. There's a lot of people been talking about this. The tweet that's come across, you've seen several Bulldog players enter in the transfer portal and or decommit from Mississippi State. Is it fair to say that Mike Leach is in hot water, or is this something that'll just in time you think will just fade away and then he's going to be just fine?
I assume that he will be the coach and will be there for a while, depending on how much he wins and loses. I know Mike. Now, I've not talked to him about this, but I will tell you, Mike did not mean the way that came out, but it came out, and it was a mistake.
Right.
And he apologized, and many are saying the apology isn't good enough. So he's got himself in a mess here. In the South, you can't play with a picture like that. You just can't. And I don't think he understood that. Now, he lived here. He was at Kentucky with Hal Mumme before he got the job with Bob Stoops, when Stoops first got to Oklahoma. He was at Valdosta State as well with Hal Mumme. So he's lived in the South, and he probably should know, I would think. He should know. And right now, I think he's just trying to weather the storm. There's probably a lot of heat on Mississippi State right now. I'd say the front office. And I know this. I didn't get to hear it, but I saw somebody tweet. Somebody tweeted that Feinbaum did a show, or was on somebody's show, and said that Leach might be getting a little bit of a pass because of the pandemic environment we're in right now.
It's interesting to kind of go off of that, and I mean, and I agree with you. I think the tweet got probably put out of context a little bit. I mean, just because I could see where thought he was joking around, but like you said, it's a little different, and especially in Mississippi, just with the history of the civil rights and all that stuff. So I mean, and right, I think I've seen recently the athletic director, I think, is making him tour 2 different museums, if I'm not mistaken, just to kind of catch him up on the cultural aspect of it. So hopefully he sticks around. I don't think he's in hot water. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts and see where you thought he might be, because I think he'll be great for the SEC in the long term.
I think he's staying, now that everybody's quarantined, I think he went back down to his place in the Keys. He's got a place down there. On the channel that I was on, I did the morning show on Sirius XM, and then he and Jack Arute did the midday show, and he did it from his home down there. So I think he's back there in the Keys right now.
A Mike Leach radio show. I mean, I didn't even know this thing existed.
Oh, it was good. It was
I'll bet it was.
The way it was exactly what you would want out of him. He was off the cuff. He would argue with anybody. He'd get happy. He'd get mad. He would say, "Shut up." It was Mike Leach. And you could also, we have one of those little boxes everybody has. So they sent him one down there, and you could hear him during commercial breaks doing push-ups, sit-ups and stuff.
Is Leach a guy that you think would end up going to television when his coaching career is done, or is that too easy of a transition in my mind for him to make?
I don't know that he would be good doing that. And you guys, it's too structured. I think radio is his thing. He knows he can always go back to Sirius. Any of those shows take him back. Any of them. Full-time, whatever he wants. Part-time, once a week, an hour a week. He could do it. I don't think so. And you know what? Think about it. When he was out last time, and that was because he was in a big snit with Texas Tech, which, by the way, that snit's not over. He's still in a snit with them.
Really?
And he didn't. I don't think he did any TV. Not full-time paid TV, maybe a spot here or there, but I don't think he did it.
Well, I was just hoping at one point that you get Craig James back into broadcasting. You'd have a Craig James and Mike Leach broadcast team. I'd tune in.
Let me give you a dream. Let me give you 2 guys a dream. You could sit down at a table with beer and talk about Craig James and his brat son with Leach, which I've done, and just don't say a word. Just let him talk. It is one of the best moments of your life. I've lived it.
Okay. I will take you at your word, Bill.
I will, too.
And I'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining us, man.
Okay,
stay
guys.
safe out
Thank
there,
you.
and look forward to talking again.
Appreciate it.
You got it. This Bill King of college football talk. Halftime continues to be brought to you by BetUS Horse Racing.
That's right, Phil. If you want to get into some horse racing, sportsbook, blackjack, roulette, and 200-plus casino games, something to help you pass the time and you just got extra money to just burn in your pocket, BetUS Racing has you covered with all of those and more that you can take advantage of at BetUSRacing.com. And for you great listeners of ESPN Arkansas, there's a $500 welcome bonus with your name on it. All you have to do is just go to BetUSRacing.com/Morning Rush to claim your $500 welcome bonus. No need to get out when you have access to all of this from your computer or your mobile device. So claim your $500 welcome bonus at BetUSRacing.com/Morning Rush.
Stay with us. We'll close out halftime. Cherry on the top coming up next. Stay tuned.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
Even though things have changed right now, CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers remains open to help keep your family fed. You don't have to sacrifice the wonderful flavor of fresh, daily ground beef burgers or piping hot fries at all. The Fayetteville location on Weddington delivers lunch or dinner through the Waiter app, or come on over and use the drive-thru. CJ's in Russellville is open for pickup during normal business hours, and as always, they're making sure everything is sanitized and safe for you. Don't forget to download the CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers smartphone app for an easy way to order. CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers has you covered, because when all you do are burgers, they have to be the best.
I'll get drive-thru.
We're now living in uncharted waters with the spread of COVID-19. With the partial closing of a lot of businesses, sadly, some will soon try and turn your possessions into their possessions. Guardtronic has been providing security for homes and businesses for over 60 years. Whether you need a camera system to keep an eye on things or a complete home security system, call Guardtronic 479-785-2323 or go online to guardtronic.com. We have so many worries these days, safety should not be one of them. License E50.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
The Arkansas Attorney General warns Arkansans to be aware of scammers impersonating government officials calling or emailing about COVID-19 economic stimulus package eligibility. The AG tells people to only rely on official government websites for economic relief information. Never give personal information over the phone or by email. The U.S. government will not be contacting you to determine your eligibility for the stimulus package. If you are contacted by a potential scammer, call the Arkansas AG at 800-482-8982 or visit the arkansasag.gov website.
Welcome back to Sports View. Next topic. Is it really all about power? Makes me think of Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Gives you the power to find options based on your budget. Let's go to Chuck for an irrelevant analogy.
Man, back in the day, people didn't ask how many oranges are in the crate. They just took the oranges. They didn't say, are there 6, 7, 12, 15, whatever. It was just oranges. You get me?
We get you, Chuck. In a word, oranges.
Give it to us straight with the Progressive Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Trade Pros. Ferguson is committed to making business with us the easiest part of your day. Ferguson.com is designed to help run your business from the office to the job site by making your day-to-day activities easier with 24/7 account access, unmatched online inventory, and on-the-go account management. And with our Pro Plus customer loyalty program, you can earn points with every online purchase, redeemable for merchandise, event tickets, trips, and more. Sign up today at Ferguson.com.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Jenkins.
Stewart's open. Stewart. One on the shot clock. Thurman beat it. Oh! He got it! Three-pointer!
Welcome back on Halftime. ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com, closing out the show today. And not exactly sure what we're going to close it out with. We usually do a change my mind. I didn't plan one for today's SmackDown. You got one? Do you have anything?
I ain't got one either.
You don't have a we have nothing to change our mind with today.
Can Maddie, can you change our mind about anything? Actually, no, I do. It's not really a change my mind. I do got a question. So I was talking to Miss Betty out here yesterday.
Yeah.
We had Maddie T gave me a big stack of the Coen Brothers movies, is there a rule, like, am I required to watch the entire movie, or if I get 30 minutes in to watching one of those movies you recommend?
For Raising Arizona or Fargo, yes.
You
have to watch the whole.
So I have to watch the whole thing.
The entire thing.
Okay.
We don't do half-assed assignments here on.
No. I understand that. Okay.
You're not allowed to go with the Cliff's Notes versions of these movies. You've got to watch.
I can't
the
get
whole
on IMDb.
Damn thing. That's right. So you got to watch. What's on your assignment for the rest of the week? Because of course that's what we do. That's what's the most important thing in life now. If we don't have any sports and we can't go to. We can't go out to eat, can't go visit your favorite watering hole after you've gone your 2-mile run and your 4-mile bike and you've cooked dinner and everything and you've read a book and a magazine article and you've checked Twitter a few times. You got to have things to watch. So what is it you're going to be watching? So I tell you what, isn't it? When is The Last Dance coming out? Is that in a couple of weeks?
It's April 19th, I believe.
It's a couple of weeks.
April 17th.
The documentary about Jordan's last season with the Bulls.
I believe it's the 19th. It's this coming Sunday's Easter, and then the following Sunday's when that comes out.
That's going to dominate it. So, I mean, until then, we've got to figure out things to watch. I finished Ozark last night, and so I don't have that to finish anymore. I guess I can try to finish up Curb Your Enthusiasm. Maybe rewatch Deadwood, something like that. But otherwise,
Do you watch
I'm
Better
not quite
Call
sure.
Saul?
I have not seen the new
It's
season
so
of Better
good.
Call Saul.
What's that on?
This week's it's on AMC. It's like the prequel to Breaking Bad.
Oh,
and
okay.
This most recent episode Monday was probably the best episode they've ever had, on par with anything Breaking Bad ever did.
Yeah, the first. This is the 4th season, correct?
I think it is 4th. But yeah, it's been on.
Seasons 1 through 3, Better Call Saul were outstanding. I mean, really good stuff. So,
I know for me. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, I should rewatch Raising Arizona so that we can discuss at some point and talk about those awful good cornflakes, Miss McDonough.
I know for me, there's a great show on Apple TV. It's the morning the morning show. It's got Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell. It goes like into the dark side of journalism. I got through like the 3rd or 4th episode, but back home we don't have the best internet out in the boondocks where we live, so I kind of lost touch.
Well,
with
I don't have
it.
any Apple products, and there was a commercial yesterday for some show, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty good, and then I see on Apple TV, and I'm like, well, it looks like I'm not going to be watching
You can subscribe to it and watch it on like iTunes.
I don't have iTunes either.
You could download it on your computer.
I don't watch shows on my computer. I watch them on my TV.
Well, there's ways around it, Matty.
Yeah.
So here's a show that I don't know if it's available on any of the streaming services. It does deal with sports. Matty T, did you ever watch Sports Night?
Sports Night. I'm trying to.
Sports Night was on ABC.
Oh, that was short lived though, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember
through
it,
2000. It was Aaron Sorkin wrote it.
Yeah.
It's one of Mike Neighbor's favorite TV shows, and it kind of played off of the craze of SportsCenter and ESPN, in the late 90s. I don't know if that one's on TV anymore or on any of the streaming services, but that's a good one, for good sports humor, and to see actors like Felicity Huffman and Josh Charles, really before we knew who they were.
Wait, Felicity Huffman, she's currently incarcerated, right?
Is she? Did she get taken into jail?
Yeah, William H. Macy's wife. She's in jail.
That was from the
college
admission scandal, right? And Lori Loughlin was also not just implicated. She was found guilty at the same time. Aunt Becky.
Yes.
That's right. So you ought to find Sports Night if you can watch that too. Have a little sports to do with you as well. The other thing I got to remind myself, I know PBS made Ken Burns' baseball documentary free or available also on their streaming service or on Netflix too. It's it's an 11-part series. Tells you the whole history of baseball from when it was founded through, I think, 1992 or 3, or I think after the strike, in fact. So, that's a good one to watch, too. And, by the way, speaking of baseball history today, 1974, Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record.
Really?
Yeah, homer number 715 came today off Al Downing of the Dodgers in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium.
Wow. I don't guess I knew that was should be around now, but I didn't realize it was this early, theoretically, into baseball season when he broke it.
Well, I think he actually had tied the record at the end of the 73 season. And then, of course, there was
the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. Henry Aaron. The fireworks are going. Henry Aaron is coming around third. His teammates are at home plate. And listen to this crowd. A sellout crowd is cheering Henry Aaron, the home run king of all time. 7:15.
That's Milo Hamilton, who, of course, Hall of Famer and longtime Astros broadcaster. He was doing Braves games then, and called that one. What a moment in American history. And there's the famous shot of Aaron rounding second base on his way to third with a couple of fans that had run onto the field to congratulate him and celebrate with him. And, Aaron was getting death threats, racist death threats. Yep. So, I mean, you can imagine the thoughts going through his mind when these two kids ran onto the field. I guess they were in their early 20s. He must have been frightened. But really, what a moment. And Hank Aaron, I put out my favorite sweet swings last week, and I had nothing but lefties up there. Griffey, Ted Williams, and I put my third one up, and I can't remember who it was. But if you're looking at right-handed swings, like Hank Aaron had a beautiful swing.
Beautiful swing. I
mean, the quickest wrists maybe in the history of the game. And today is a banner day in I think, American history, not just sports history.
We were talking about stuff to watch earlier. I forgot about this, and BE text in told us HBO is giving away. You can get 500 hours of free shows via HBO right now.
They have some full series, and The Sopranos is one of them. And I rewatched the whole Sopranos, and I wouldn't mind doing that again. Actually, that's a good one. But also, I saw Veep is one of their series, and I've never watched Veep, but I've heard it's really good. Either of you watched Veep with Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
I've watched some Veep. Very, very funny. Yeah, really funny. Have you ever seen Band of Brothers SmackDown? That's worth your time.
That's a great one.
Put that on the list.
Teach you about the 101st Airborne during World War II.
Band of Brothers? Is that what?
Yes.
Okay.
Phil, wasn't there a Hank Aaron movie that came out a few years ago?
42?
42, that's it.
Oh, that's about Jackie Robinson.
Oh.
That would be about Jackie Robinson.
We got each Well, they did come out with a Hank Aaron one, didn't they?
I don't remember a Hank Aaron movie. When they do come out with one, because at some point they should, it's just going to be called The Hammer.
Hammer Time.
That was Hank's nickname. That's right. All right, you've done it. You've wasted the last 2 hours of your life here on Halftime on a Quarantine Wednesday. I'm going to go inside with Horton Nestra, Dana Altman, Nick Saban, Chad Morris, Perry Costello, Gus Malzahn, and Penn Wagers into my quarantine house. And if I make it out alive, I'll see you tomorrow.
We hope to see you on the other side.
Hope to see you on the other side, too, SmackDown. For Matty T, for SmackDown, Matt Jenkins, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.